Before we get started, if you're new here and you find yourself always needing more time, running out of time, or not getting the most out of your time, I have a short program called Where to Start that is going to help you as soon as today. Where to Start is where I teach the exact foundation I walk people through before they ever open a planner or create a to-do list. It teaches you what to do first so that you can get the most out of your days, your weeks, your months. You can find Where to Start linked wherever you're listening now. So pause me now to sign up and get started, or make a note to sign up after you're done listening to today's episode. You can click the link here where you're listening or go to wheretostart.me. That's wheretostart.me. Welcome to episode 5 of the Steward Well series, a 10-episode series designed and created to help you steward your time well, and not only help you, but those in your circles, in your communities. I created this series using audio so that you can easily share it with the people in your life and keeping them short. So if you have not been sending the links out to your group chat, baby, today is the day. Go on and send this out. And also, make sure you're listening in order, because the series is intended to be listened to in order because it builds on the previous episode. All right. So let's talk about today's topic. When it comes to time and in your daily time, I have 3 non-negotiables, guidelines. If you don't like the word rules, whatever you want to call them, but there are 3 things I am going to do, and I'm going to encourage you to make these 3 things the big 3 in your life as well, right? They're non-negotiable because they work for everyone, regardless of your season. I was thinking of stage and season. Your season, your stage, your age. In some capacity, these 3 things, if done consistently, are going to help you better organize your time. When combined with, this is really key, right? The foundations taught inside of Where to Start, because Where to Start gives you the container in which to plan your days, right? I'm going to always remind you, trying to build when you don't have the proper foundation. You can have the best tools, the best guidelines, but if you're trying to build them on quicksand, you will continue to fall. You have to build a strong foundation first. And that's why I created Where to Start, because that's where I want you to start. Okay. It's linked in wherever you're listening. Where to Start is linked below. Okay. But let's get straight into my 3 non-negotiables. Number 1, preview your week every week in writing, no later than Sunday. Preview your week every week in writing, no later than Sunday. Now, again, I'm going to go into the details of these also in Where to Start, but let's talk about what I mean by previewing your week every week in writing, no later than Sunday. You want to know what's on your calendar before the week begins. You don't want to remember you had a meeting Thursday at 3:00 on Wednesday night. You don't want to remember that on Thursday at 1:00, right? You don't want to remember that Thursday at 3:00 when the little flash comes up on your phone. This is a way for you to look at what I call your o'clocks, meetings, appointments, due dates, the things that are on your calendar for the week. Have a look at that already, and you want to physically write it out so that you can visibly see what your week looks like. Is there a lot on one day, a little on another? Is there open space over here? Spoiler alert, sometimes in your weeks, you might want to have places where you've proactively said on these days or when I do X, Y, and Z, but that's another conversation. But you want to know the things that have a time and or place where you have to be present. You want to know that ahead of the week. You want to know what's important in the week. Why? Because it's going to start helping you to create boundaries on what gets your attention and intention in the week. Everything cannot be important in any given week. You have to narrow your focus, and that's what previewing your week allows you to do. One practice that I do use is the Clear Your Mind method when I'm in a full season that just has a lot of ideas. I'm in a creative process, and there's just so much coming at me. I write everything down before I start to preview my week. So that is my first step, or I type it all out in my everything spreadsheet, which I'm going to talk about that shortly. That way I can see everything in my head in one place. And that helps me decide what matters most in the upcoming week, because what I'm going to tell you is not going to happen in your week. Everything on your quote unquote to-do list. We'll talk about those in a later episode, right? But You want to be able to start to narrow your focus for the week. Your body is going to appreciate it. Your brain is going to appreciate it, which is then going to allow the brain appreciating it allows the rest of your body to, right? And again, all of this is done with the backdrop of being clear on my values and my season, both of which help you better articulate and understand and where to start, which is linked where you're listening. But you want to be able at the top of every week to narrow your focus to only what matters this week, right? Only what matters this week, because the things that matter 2 weeks from now, that you can't do anything about that in the present week, right? So we just want to focus in. It's the first step in helping to narrow your week. Guideline number 2, non-negotiable number 2, plan every day the day before in writing. So there are 2 things there. You're planning your day the day before, meaning I'm not planning Monday on Monday, Tuesday on Tuesday. So the day before and in writing. Yay for apps. Love the apps. Yay for apps, right? But there are some things that, baby, pencil and paper are undefeated. They are the champion. And planning your day out is one of those areas, right? The execution will vary based on your preference. What needs to be included are the things, but hold on, let me say that again. My brain is thinking 2 things at the same time. The execution on how you plan your day, that's going to vary based on your preference, based on what your schedule looks like. You know, how I might help someone who's an ER surgeon is different how I'm helping someone who's sitting at a desk all day. It's different how I'm helping someone who works part-time from home. It's different from how I help a teacher, right? So what your schedule actually entails and the season you're in might change how you do it, but it doesn't change the fact that you're going to plan every day and writing the day before, right? And also including your preferences and what works best for your brain. But what needs to be included are the things that matter and nothing else. Again, just like we're narrowing down at the top of the week, now we're narrowing down to the day. Because today, as I record this, today is a Wednesday. I have no need for my brain right now thinking about Thursday. It's not Thursday. I do have written down what Thursday will entail and what will matter. But first of all, I am aware enough that something today could change that. And so the best place I can be today is today. We talked about that last week, right? With episode 4. So in episode 4, we talked about small, right? Do not bombard your day with large, general, generic things. We're not writing down, oh, I have to write a brief, or I have to make some calls. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing to your brain. It will overwork looking for direction and then eventually give up and procrastinate when it doesn't have it. I don't know what she really mean by this. We don't know what does that mean? What is step 1? What does success look like? We don't know. We're not going to get to it. And that's why so many things on your quote unquote to-do list just live there. Baby, they have lived there longer than you have lived probably in the house you live in. We have to start being specific about the things that matter in the day. And I call those things like results and outcomes. So you have to be specific. What is the small intentional step? What are those results and outcomes needed for this day, right? I didn't write down work on Steward Well today. It was record episode 4 or episode 5. It's recording this episode and then it's setting it up on the back end. And then after that, there's making sure the email has been drafted, which it already has. Actually, I did that before I recorded. But it's like the small specific steps, not just work on episode 5. Baby, what does that mean? That can entail 4, 5, 10 different things. Learn how to be specific when you're planning your days. That's my point, right? List them out. And I'm going to tell you, as you list out your results and outcomes for the day, I'm going to encourage you to err on the side of writing out less than more. If you finish every single thing, you can always add more, or guess what? You can choose to be done, right? But I recommend, and I say this to my clients all the time, when we're pulling for the day, less over more. I'd rather you finish it all and add more than to have more. And now you're at the end of every day. There's always this more we have to move over, which is, we can work with that. But I'm going to tell you, err on the side of less. Okay. It works for so many reasons. Trust me, I'm the expert. I've been doing this for over a decade. At some point, I just need you to believe me. Okay. That's number 2. Number 3, so important. This is about to get rid of all the sticky notes, the 15 apps, the 14 journals. Baby, it just needs to live in one place. Non-negotiable number 3, everything else, everything that is not what I'm working on this week and in this day has to live in one place. And it's one place that's easily accessible to me. If it's not in this week and today, it should not be living in your head right now. It should not live on, let me say this. You don't want it to live on sticky notes, a ton of apps, a ton of journals. My one place for everything, which is why it's called this, is the everything spreadsheet, which I've linked where you're listening now. What that gives me is a place to categorize everything in my head. For me, I use categories like work, personal, finance, people. Basically, people would be anything that's dealing with a person who's not me. Sometimes nuclear family, so things that only have to do with my home. But that way, all the ideas, miscellaneous, other, whatever, all the things live in one spreadsheet. In my everything spreadsheet, I have the things that I want to do, things I want to remember listed by category. And then each month I pull from that full list and decide what I want to do in my month. And so you can even see, if you're listening, right, it goes from month, week to the day. But it starts with everything living somewhere else. And the beauty of everything living in that one place is you don't have to feel like, okay, I know I keep a separate list of all the things I want to do for work. I have a separate list of things I want to do for my family. I have a separate list of things I want to do for a business. When it all lives in one place, you don't have to keep up with everything. And what I love about the everything spreadsheet is it's electronic, so I can access it anywhere, anytime. I get an idea, something I want to remember, I can pop it in there, right? And at the top of each week, as I plan my week, I will add what I want from the full, like what I've pulled for the month, and say, oh, this is the week I'm going to do that, right? So this is the last few days of April when I'm recording this. So I go into my everything spreadsheet to say what hasn't been done, because baby, I don't have a lot more time for in April. And that makes it very easy to say, okay, these are the things that are going to get moved into this week. It prevents me from losing ideas, from forgetting things, and I actually get the things done in small steps, one today at a time. And what I love about the everything spreadsheet is that when you mark an item as complete, there's an automation that adds it to a completed list. So you can see the long list of all the things you've accomplished over time, but you don't have to keep a running to-do list. Again, we'll talk about those in another episode. But the 3 rules work so beautifully together, right? So you preview your week every week in writing, no later than Sunday. Most people do that Friday at the end of the week, or they'll do it Sunday. You get to choose. Number 2, plan every day in writing the day before. And that's not just making a monster list of things to do, right? And number 3, everything else will live in one place, and that is the everything spreadsheet. That's what I use, right? Those are my 3 non-negotiables. If you want to steward your time well without adding unnecessary stress in your days, these 3 things will help you remember what is important, keep up with it, and pull what you need in each month, week, and day. Its simplicity makes it sustainable. So, question 5 of the series, every episode has a question for you, is what is preventing you from previewing your weeks, planning your days, and letting everything else live in one place? What is keeping you from that simple system? Or if you're one of my students, clients, customers, and you are doing those 3 things and you have those 3 non-negotiables, how have they impacted your time for the better? What questions do you have for me about today's episode? I want you to post them over in the One Today at a Time membership, which is linked here, or feel free to DM me. I am really loving getting your DMs and having conversations with you all in the DMs. Over on Instagram, I'm at Shunta Grant, SHUNTAGRANT. I will talk to you again in episode 6, where I'm going to talk about the dreaded phrase work-life balance. You don't want to miss that one. I think that might be one of the most, if not the most, popular in this series. So make sure you come back and listen to episode 6, and I will see you then, or talk to you then. This Steward Well series is brought to you by Where to Start, my online program that walks you step by step on where to start if you want to steward your time well. The best news, we don't begin with lists and productivity. Actually, none of that is included. Instead, I'm going to show you how to steward your time in a way that honors your values and your specific season. And yes, I teach you how to define both of those things inside of Where to Start. Where to Start is linked right now wherever you're listening, or you can go to wheretostart.me. That's wheretostart.me today.